Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for an absolutely exquisite car. This is a Honda CR-V 1.6 EX diesel, and it's the automatic version. Finished in black, but with a whole host of options fitted. Notably, as you can see there, these lovely black edition 19-inch alloys, side steps, wind protectors or rain protectors on the doors there, and the high-level rear spoiler. It really adds up to a really stunning looking car. I'm sorry, I'm a different position or different place than normal doing the videos because they're doing some work where we are, so hence that's why I'm around here today, but it shouldn't alter the fact that I can pick up on anything I need to. Lights and lenses are completely clear and intact. Front of the car with this new style front end looks absolutely fantastic. And again, all very, very clean. Just the odd tiny stone chip. But nothing that detracts in any way. Offside, driver side of the car, sorry, near side of the car, passenger side, blemish free in terms of any indentations that I can see on there. Near side front alloy, the one takes all the bashing, and actually it's very clean indeed. And panel work is very, very clean and tidy. Near side rear alloy, absolutely lovely. I come around here, this is actually my favourite angles for these CR-Vs. It really does look fabulous. It's all very subtle, but it just looks sensational, and this one really stands out. Coming around the back, again, all very, very clean and tidy. No doubt helped by the fact that it's got front and rear parking sensors and a rear camera, so you shouldn't have any excuses to give it a bash, of course, but there we are. Offside of the vehicle, driver's side, again, wonderfully smooth on the panels. Offside rear alloy, absolutely unmarked. And the remaining panel work is absolutely beautiful. And then final alloy, just to show you, absolutely clean as a whistle. So externally, it really is in absolutely fantastic condition. So coming into the boot now, and this little one-touch opening for the electric boot, massive boot area, and it's been kept really, really nicely. Quick fold rear seats, and as I said, not been used heavily in the back at all. It's coming to the back now, really wide opening rear doors, helps getting in and out with people and goodies. Incredible amount of leg room there. And those front seats are set for me, and I'm over 6 foot tall, so I'm not cheating in any way. And the leather work looks pretty much as new in the back, and that's, you can't always say that about CR-Vs because they are family cars, so they can be very heavily used, but this one's been given very light use indeed. So coming in the front passenger side, again, all the door cards are wonderfully clean. Full set of mats fitted to the vehicle. And front passenger seat there, again, looks as though it's hardly ever been sat in. Finally, come to the driver's door card, again, absolutely unmarked. Footwell area is lovely and clean, and the driver's seat itself hardly exhibits any wear at all. There'll be the tiniest amount, but it is minuscule. So inside the car now, engine's running through this section, so the dash can be seen illuminated, which is in fantastic condition. This gets the latest style big screen sat-nav system, which works absolutely perfectly, as you can see. If we pop the car into reverse there, you get that lovely gridded rear parking camera, all working exactly as it should. Likewise, dual zone climate control system, auto gear lever there. But all the little recesses have been kept really very nicely indeed. Come across the dashboard binnacle there for you, 53,911 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running, but it really is absolutely fabulous in here. So finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 1.6 EX automatic diesel. This particular car is registered WP15NGF, and mileage at the start of the road test is 53,911 miles. As we always say, the reason for the road test is very simple. It's basically so that if anyone's looking at this car in an advert online, they actually get to see that very car in operation. We think it's really important because we know to our cost just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car. and whilst it can look perfectly good in the photographs and in the description, only to drive it to find out it's got a fundamental issue which you clearly should have been told about before setting off. So hence that's why we do it. It's also done on part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on, and the reason for that is that hopefully it'll then be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the vehicle. The car itself has been wonderfully looked after in every single way, and it's obvious the very second you get in and drive the car because it feels absolutely as tight as a drum to drive. The engine starts instantly and settles to completely smooth, even idle. No warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running, or applying to any other part of the car for that matter, and temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car, and it's been running for quite some time now. But the engines are brilliant units, and as I said in the description, don't be fooled into thinking that just because it's a 1.6 it hasn't got the oomph to go with it. Far from it, because I've got a 2.2 automatic diesel 2015 car, and this is much quicker than that car. These are the higher horsepower version. It's 160 horsepower, so it's clearly got a lot of grunt, but as soon as you put your foot down, the thing's off and flying along. It really is a fabulous unit. It's also very quiet in operation and nice and smooth, so day in, day out, it's not going to grate whilst you're driving the car. Gearbox, 9-speed automatic gearbox, amazing, really amazing. The gear changes are wonderfully quick and smooth. With all those gears, you'd have thought you'd constantly be feeling it change gears, but you don't really. It's a lovely companion, and obviously more gears, better for extracting the fuel economy and the performance out of the car. Because although it's quicker than the 2.2s, it's also much more economical actually in day-to-day driving than 2.2 ever was, as good an engine as it was, and I love it personally. But engine, gearbox working absolutely perfectly. Steering on the car has always been a strong point on the CR-Vs, because they managed to hit the sweet spot with it by giving it really nice weighting. They are electric power steering, which isn't to everybody's tastes, or wasn't when they first came out, but they've mastered it very quickly. It's very quick, very precise, suits the character of the car absolutely perfectly. It's a very well thought out system, and it feels as tight as it would have done when it was new. It tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at all. That comes through the steering at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. But it said it just feels absolutely as tight as a drum. It really does. Chassis of the vehicle. What I'm looking for on these road tests is basically any signs of any kind of mechanical noises coming from underneath. And if you remember this in the video, or when you're driving the car, this bump here is horrible. It's a really good test for any kind of chatterings coming from underneath, and there's nothing at all. Worth pointing out, the car will be going through an independent MOT, hopefully either today or tomorrow, so all these things will be checked anyway. The other lovely thing about the chassis is it gives you really good body control for a tall car. There's not a huge amount of body roll going through the corners unless you're really pushing hard, which isn't really in the character of the car, but it flows the corners really well, but also manages to give you a very compliant, very well controlled ride as well. They're very comfortable cars, but all too often manufacturers either go for rock hard, which is unbelievably uncomfortable, or for soft, which is great initially, but then you go to the corners and they just sort of flounder around. It can be absolutely horrible things. But this one, as I said, hits a sweet spot. But the reality is that the CR-V is the best-selling SUV in the world, and it's very easy to see why. Honda have done their homework, and they come up with an absolutely wonderful setup. Because suspension ultimately is all about compromise and what is best for that particular type of car. I'm just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove. I know they're good, but make sure no one's directly behind me. But it's a really nice, powerful brake pedal. What I'm looking for is good initial bite, which it's got, but also that there shouldn't be any kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, and there isn't any. It's all absolutely spot on. Coming inside the car, I mean, first things first, beautifully made cars. I always say it, it is absolutely true. There's no squeaks, no rattles, and this is a real test of build quality after 4 or 5 years on the road, 50 odd thousand miles, and some of it's so-called, you know, high quality competition can be rattle boxes at this sort of age, and I've driven enough to know, but this is just beautifully put together. Also a lovely place to sit, brilliant visibility, huge wing mirrors, you feel really in control of the car. Dashboard, it's got a low down, which is really nice, so you get a good view out. Even I can see the bonnet, which is a rarity on a modern car. But the dashboard is very highly equipped, but doesn't phase. You can get into them. After 2 or 3 days of driving them, things become second nature very quickly indeed. Sat-navs, simplicity itself. Dual zone climate control system, gives you different temperatures side to side if you so wish, but also is blowing out absolutely ice cold air. Worth pointing out, the switchgear quality in these CRVs is absolutely brilliant. It's the little things that Honda do so brilliantly well that, you know, you could be driving this car in 20 years time and still be impressed by just how nicely things actuate. And I think that's what appeals to sort of Honda buyers in particular. You know, it's really is sort of substance of the vehicle which they're looking for, and engineering integrity. Coming across, dashboard, simplicity itself, it's just basic information, nicely presented, done very nicely. Steering wheel feels absolutely like new in hand. It's actually quite small in diameter as well, which is really rather nice, so it doesn't feel unwieldy on the road. So it's again sort of a nice little feature of the car. All the buttons, everything I've pressed work exactly as intended, so nothing to worry about there. This is a 4-wheel drive version, albeit there is no 4-wheel drive button to press because, again, Honda, with experience, they knew very quickly that the majority of people driving these cars will be doing as I'm doing today, driving in perfectly good conditions. The problem with having a permanent 4-wheel drive system, of course, is it's not been utilised, and all it's doing, because there's more friction involved, is using up more fuel, putting more mechanical stress through the vehicle and chewing up your tyres more quickly. The way this one works is if the front wheels lose grip, because it runs in front wheel drive, the most efficient way to pull the car along, you know, snow, ice or mud or something like that, it instantly and seamlessly brings in the rear wheels to give you 4-wheel drive. It's absolutely brilliant, and I tow a caravan with ours, so I know exactly how efficient it actually is. Its simplicity also gives it its reliability, because we've been selling Hondas using this system for over 2 decades now, and never so much as put a spanner on one of them, so they are very tough indeed. As I said at the start of the video, the point of it, as brief as it might be, is literally just to show the car in operation, but to feed back any issues on the vehicle. There's nothing at all. It drives absolutely beautifully. It is a stunning looking car, this one, in every single way, you know, with the options fitted, and whoever's lucky enough to get it next will be taking on a very fine car indeed.